We're back. Hopefully, you can come back. We are back. Come on back in here. Scipio! Hey, Scipio, let me get Kennard back in here so we can finish up this conversation. Thank you guys for coming back. Thank you guys for coming back.
Oh, that
Okay.
is Scipio.
Yeah.
Scipio.
Yeah. Kingdom Nation Church. I got friends in here. BJ Watts. How are you, love? But yes, Jojo, I like I like working with with this that's a whole other thing. I'm not even going to go into that. But I'm getting my experience in the secular world. Yes. Yes, I am. I am. So can you pick up where you working on it?
Yes. So,
Okay.
as I was saying, I'm sorry, I got to take this off. It's hot. Um, as I was saying, I just shared with a friend of mine who happens to be in this room, and I think that all of my friendships, um, I would like to think all of my friendships and time spent with my friends are moments that are impactful, and we have conversations that's beyond just us cutting up. Um, but we challenge one another, and that's important to have people that challenge you, because honestly, what we tend to do is we tend to, and I'm glad you said what Jahari brought up the question that you did. Thank you, Jahari, for bringing that up. Um, Being in one sector of
Hmm.
an art. Um, as a creative, I think it is important that we think abroad and we think larger, because that is our responsibility as creatives. In order for you to create, you have to have vision,
Yeah.
and for you to have vision, you have to envision. And as we are creating, I think that we need to be careful that we don't limit ourselves and keep ourselves in such a small contained space. And I'll use the gospel secular as an example, because I know that you and some of the others are familiar with the terminology. Um, when you think being in music, music itself is such a broad art.
Hmm.
It embodies country western, gospel, folk, jazz, different genres. And we tend to limit our gifts to one sector or one particular portion. Same with fashion. Sometimes, it's important that we try our hands at the broader um, picture versus the
Yeah.
small wallet size.
Yeah.
And I tend to use a body of water because of what, water itself, just as air and you breathe, is an important element.
Hmm.
I tend to use water as an example because it's a very important element to our lives. But when you think a creek, that's such a small body of water compared to an ocean. And
Yeah.
if we tend to stay in a creek and we're growing and we're expecting our business to grow, and then we try to swim in that creek, at some point we've outgrown that space and we belong in an ocean.
Right.
And it is nothing wrong with moving around. Your faith has nothing to do with your work.
Right.
You as an artist, you do not have to do only gospel because you are a faith, because of your ministry. You don't have to.
Right.
Your gift goes beyond that.
Right.
And if you want to think about it in another way, your responsibility is to compel men. Sometimes being in those other areas, working in those different genres of the art, gives you
Hmm.
an opportunity, and it's a platform for you to compel others, even in your conversation. People will see that you're different. They'll see it, even when
Right.
you don't see it.
Right.
They identify that you're different,
Yeah.
and they pay attention to what your niche is, because honestly, who you are and your purpose in life will place you in a position to be able to jump into those areas and be impactful.
Right.
But we can't be so closed-minded that we feel like gospel is only the place that we can make an impact,
Yeah. Yeah.
because it's broader. It's a
Yeah.
bigger picture.
A
It's a
comment
way bigger
from
picture.
short, crisp one is have people in your circle that make you uncomfortable.
Yes.
So let me tell y'all about Kennard, this one right here, okay? So I'm
Go
going on tour last year with a new group.
ahead.
I have not toured with this group before, but I know most of the people who are going. And my previous tour experiences were challenging for me and apparently those around me because I can be the way that I am. I'm an introvert or I just have social trouble sometimes. But Kennard said, we were just talking. I was like, yeah, because, I'm kind of, just like, just want to be on my best. I want to, do my best and I don't want to make nobody mad and make nobody uncomfortable. He said, well, if you just don't go into this being a know it all, you'll be fine. He called me a know it all. Now, he was spot on, actually, but I never considered myself to be a know it all or to even come off like I'm a know it all. But actually, kind of, if every time somebody does something, I have something to say, that kind of makes me look like I'm a know it all. That comment stayed with me the entire trip, and it was one of the best trips I've ever had. Thank you very much for calling me a know it all. God, people gotta tell you the truth. Get you all the way together, Chris. Yes.
Oh,
Sweetly.
get out of here.
Sweetly. Now some people he just gets them together and just leaves them to themselves. He gently helps
Iron
me.
sharpens iron.
Cause he know he probably would kill me. He would kill me quick if he got me like some other people he get. I don't know if I can if I can handle it. I'm a sensitive one, believe it or not.
Hold on. Rodney put in the comment. He said, I grew up in the gospel world and I know everyone, but the only gospel artist who ever hired me throughout my entire career was Jackie and Dorinda Clark.
What?
So I say you can be saved and still branch out. Now, my question to everyone, answer this one question. Does anyone know the faith of your dollar bills?
It's an atheist.
What religious background does your
Well,
20, your
actually,
50, or your $100 bill have?
it's not even atheist because it says in God we trust. Hello.
Well, I,
Right.
I don't know why and I'm not gonna say, and I say we because at one point I felt like, you know, my career started out in gospel. That was my first experience. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
grow.
This this is where we could make a hard left,
No,
but
no, no,
we
no.
won't.
We can. Let's go.
I, I don't want
I like Chris's response. My dollar bills are cashable. Yeah.
I
I
mean,
mean, and I don't. You know, people who tend to. You have to be
they
careful because
they're
people are
carrying on
thinking
already.
small. Who knows what's happening?
So wait,
Um.
wait a minute. I need to take. I hope y'all use me. Can y'all hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
You can hear me. Okay, my
It's
iPhone.
Tyler. It's Tyler Perry.
Tyler Perry play going on for real.
Yeah. Um. But I lost my train of thought real quick.
Sorry. Sound like somebody being killed over there, but we know that ain't the case.
Yeah.
So Scipio said accountability helps with making us all better. It really does because I promise y'all, if I did not have Kennard in my life right now, I probably would be lost more than I already am. He kind of brings me back center so I can get my mind right. And when it takes me a minute to get my mind right, I just stay away from people until I get it right.
Yeah, because and honestly, we gotta you have to have friends who are not afraid of hurting your feelings.
Yeah,
Sometimes you have to be broken
yeah,
in order for you to be able to go into some of these onto some of these platforms. You have to be broken before you get there because if not, you will be broken. I will never forget, and I'm gonna tell this story real quick. I'll never forget. I was taking a class at FIT, online class at FIT, And I'll never forget, one of my assignments was coming up with a letter of responsibility. I had no idea what it was. I knew not what I was supposed to be doing. I didn't even know the existence of it. And I reached out to a stylist that I had met while in LA. I styled an artist at the time who was performing at Celebration of Gospel. Flew all the way, flew all the way to LA. I'm not going to tell the rest of the story, but just know I flew to LA and we met there, and they were styling one of the artists who is a very well-known artist. I'll just say that. But I remember asking them a question for direction on how to accomplish or to how to achieve constructing a letter of responsibility. And here I am. I call myself a stylist. I met them working on the grounds of BET. Here I am functioning as a stylist and had no idea what a letter of responsibility was.
Wow.
And it's something that is very important to a stylist.
Okay.
It's a piece of documentation that you need and you should be aware of. However, I did not know, but I'm functioning as a stylist.
Okay.
And I asked him, I remember sending him a message and I was like, yo, hey, what's going on? You know, blah, 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 how things? He's like, yo, things are good. I'm like, you out there on the road? He's like, yeah, you know, things are good out here on the road. You know, what's up with you? And I'm like, oh, hey, I'm in this class and I don't want you to tell me what it is, but can you just give me a book that I can, you know, refer to so that I can, you know, learn what it is that I need to be doing?
Right.
And he wrote me back. Now, mind you, in my conversation, I said to him, I went to the internet, couldn't find anything. So I'm asking you because of who you are. He wrote me back, Google it, LOL.
That's what I tell people.
Now, at that moment, I was just like, ugh. I had a few choice words that flashed, you know, before me in my mind, and I did not put them in the message, but sometimes people are not as warm as you think they will be, and the fashion industry will be the first that will break you down to next to nothing. When you think you got it and you enter a room, they will break you down. And that's why it is good to have people who are friends. We're going to read your comments. We're coming.
Yeah, we're coming.
That will break you down. And honestly, the difference between having friends that will break you down and having people in the industry that you run across to break you down, your friends have that ability to build you back up because they know exactly who you are and what you embody. Those people out there, they don't care.
Yeah.
They're not interested in knowing how to build you back up. And they really don't care that they broke you down. So it is good that you have people, Scipio, thank you for bringing it up, that you have people that will hold you accountable and that definitely will sharpen your iron.
Yeah, Shay said a different mindset can change your entire perspective. It really, really can.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Jahari, she says, are you guys surprised when your gifts are taking you? Well, you know,
Yes, I'll say yes.
I'm not surprised because as far as Kennard, watching him process and watching him grow into where he is currently, you've always been different. You've never been in a box, like ever. You have never ever.
Jahari is killing me.
You've never been in a box. So I would be surprised if you weren't where you were. You know,
and you know why I say that? The reason why I say I was surprised is because I went off of what I was told. You have to be careful who you allow to plant in your soil, because there are people who will come and plant weeds in your soil. Hey, Bobby, what's going on? You have to be careful who you allow to plant in your soil, because people will come and plant. They'll come and you'll see that they have seeds in their hands. You don't know what those seeds are.
Yeah.
And when you trust them and they come into your soil and they plant those seeds tend to be seeds that are weeds that will eat up what you've planted.
Wow.
And the reason why I was surprised at first was because I listened to some of the words that were spoken that were negative, that were
Mm-hmm.
telling me that I couldn't, that I
Yeah.
wouldn't, that I would only make it to this point. This is what I, would be doing. And until I came to the realization of who I was and what
Yeah.
my purpose was, until I got to that point and I knew it for myself and I wasn't relying on someone else,
Mm-hmm.
then my perspective changed. Because again, like as Shay said, the mindset, it makes a heck of a difference.
Yeah.
Because you can see everything from right here.
Right.
But when you take it from here,
Yeah.
you see everything different.
Yeah. Now,
You
I
know,
was the converse of that, because in my immediate home life, there was nothing fostering who I was.
mm-hmm.
It was Bishop Evans who sat down with me and Jay Deal and said, he cried. He was always crying about something, but he cried and he said, I know that you two will leave me one day. He said that. He said, I know that the two of you will leave me one day. And that's when he told me that I was strangely bashful and that I needed to work on that to get me to where he saw me going. I will never, ever forget that. I've held on to that up until this very moment. So
Mm-hmm.
that one word has kept me moving. It's
Mm-hmm.
kept me flowing. Even when I didn't feel like I fit in with what was going on. I was trying to fit in with what was going on. Who knew that I would be trying to forge my own lane,
Mm-hmm.
and do the things. When I met Jonathan Nelson, I saw him directing his church choir.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, hey, if you ever do anything, call me. That's not something that Leslie would have just done, because I ain't talked to people at that point. But I was intrigued by what I saw, and I made that comment to him, and somewhere in that mind of his, he remembered me. And that span with purpose and growing, and even with his permission to leverage his name in certain spaces, or him recommending me for certain things, pushed me into larger areas
Mm-hmm.
where I was able to connect with people who were doing things on a bigger platform, and they remember me, from that. So I, I I'm not surprised, because I knew it was coming. I just didn't know how.
Mm-hmm. And I say it, and I say it um, as a form of testimony. I didn't have the luxury of being raised by my mother, but I'm telling you, life is an amazing thing when you live it authentically. But the one thing I will say that I learned from that is some people are given the responsibility of birthing you, and there are others who are given the responsibility of nurturing you.
Yes.
Everybody is not familiar with what art you are in
Right.
possession of, and they don't know what your purpose is. And when they're not aware of that, they don't know what to act. They don't know
Right.
how to
That's good.
engage you. They don't know how to prepare you. They really are not familiar. So sometimes they will mishandle you, but their intention is not to mishandle you, but the impact is
Right.
mishandling. And so sometimes you have to be careful that you're not constantly sucking on that breast that you don't need to be on, because there's nothing coming from it.
Right.
But
Yeah.
something that's it can definitely be a negative moment, because you're wasting your time trying to feed off of something that really cannot nourish you.
Yeah.
And so I again was listening to people who were older than I, who I felt like would know a little something. And when they told me that just wasn't it, you need to focus on something else, try to study something. Why would you want to do that? That's not going to profit you anything. And to see that those things that they spoke of based on what they could not see, that they thought they knew, there was a me that they did not know.
Right.
And so of course they handled me based on what they thought versus what they weren't privy to knowing,
Right.
because it was not their responsibility to know that side of me,
Yeah.
or to be attached to me, to gauge me, or to engage me, or to nurture me.
Right.
So that's why I say I was surprised. But it's
Yeah, you see Rodney's.
we're here now. Rachel got you all the way together because she turned up. Well, listen, And honestly, the one thing I don't share it with people to, to get people to say, oh, oh no, that's so sad. No, it's not sad, because one thing I do understand, that purpose and time do come together and they intertwine and they work in your favor. Because honestly, the one thing that I gotten from that situation with me not having the presence of my mother was the best thing that she could have offered me was her absence.
Yeah.
Because from her absence, I was able to go into a direction that honestly, where she would have taken me was not where I was purposed to be.
Yeah.
So, purpose definitely works in your favor. So, hey, here I am, stamped and sealed.
Amen. That was good. We made it through. Yay. Oh my God. Thank you guys for having. So I just want to tell you guys, thank you for spending time with us tonight. My little hiccup in the beginning, but we're here now. And I'm going to share the videos on IG just in case you want to go back. And love you, Rod. Yeah, this quarantine time has been extremely special.
We should have had him in here instead of
I
him being
know.
in the comments.
We can talk to him another time. I mean, hey, where we going? We can sit here and talk to each other all the time.
Wait a minute, Shay is saying something. Sometimes can you give?
I think he's saying sometimes the best thing you can give is absence.
It's absence. Yes.
Yes. Love you, Jahari. But thank you guys so much for sitting in with us tonight. This is the first of something that we sitting in the house, we creating, we coming up with stuff to do to keep us engaged, to keep us out of the refrigerator, to keep us out of trouble, big trouble, so.
Yes, utilize this time wisely. Help somebody.
Yes, help somebody. Help somebody. Thank you, Roy. I will bring you back. Lamont, thank you. Love you too. So next week I am already in talks with doing something
Monty, yes,
about
Monty.
something towards BGVs, aspiring BGVs, the questions that we never really get to answer. That question is never really answered in detail.
Love you, Joe.
I want to thank Kennard, Ken J Galaxy. Remember, follow him, Ken J Galaxy. All right.
Yes.
Follow me. If you don't already, you should. I_breathe_melody. Stay connected, and we will talk to you guys soon. Thank you.
Later.